on the Zoom lady we're going to summon.
Zoomy.
Yeah, so guys, when my guests finally arrive, I will just disappear and
Yeah,
meet
no, that's
everybody.
cool. That's when we'll take. Just say they're here. We'll break that point, and then we'll just have a break for a bit longer, just so we can do a bit now. And I'll we'll move the role. It's going to be mostly roleplay today, I think, anyway, rather than combat-y type stuff. So it makes sense, unless Jax decides to boot the king.
Look, policies are terrible. I'm king now. What? Stab. Oh.
Recording in progress.
Oh, I've done it the wrong way around. Hold on, I'm going to stop it and I'm going to start it again.
Recording stopped.
Because I need to start it in the other one. Oh, I have done it in the other one. Sorry, I'm being an idiot. I have done it on OBS as well. I've pressed the wrong button. Well, I pressed too many buttons.
Recording in progress.
Yay again.
You pressed all the buttons now.
All the buttons. All of the buttons have been processed and pressed and repressed and sort of
is that the one?
gesticulated into position so that we are able to perform this.
Recording live in front of a studio audience.
Yeah, we're recording live in front of 2 hairy dogs.
It's a live studio audience.
Yeah, they are basically alive. Sometimes. Ladies and gents... Oh, no, that's not how it goes. Hello, everybody! Welcome to Critically Average Adventure, and welcome to the Fragments. This is a D&D 5e campaign I'm playing with my friends.
And these are my
friends.
Hey! She knows it better than you!
I'm tired. It's been a very strange day at work. I've been sat down all day at work, which I never do.
That's very odd for you.
Because there's a job that the volunteers don't like doing, so I had to do it. So, So when we left our heroes last, they had defeated, had they defeated strange syrupy ghost spirit dream nightmare thing that had crawled out of the body of the king of Mornsale. You had feasted with him after saving him from near death and
not the king of Frohast,
King of Frohast, and but reigns from Mornsale basically. He is. You had feasted with him, and then he was finally tired again, and decided that he would sleep once more, and parley with you in the morning, speak with you again in the morning when refreshed, and after he had feasted. You are all in turn summoned to the throne room that you have been to before.
Has the ice disappeared?
The ice has disappeared. There is a damp area upon the carpet that is curious to most of the people because the windows are intact and they're just wondering why there is a slew of ice that is on the floor.
And I have vague recollections of being a penguin.
Yeah.
I liked being a penguin.
You were brought before the king,
yes,
and he rises from the throne.
Did anyone rock up during the night at all?
In the night? Oh yeah, let's go back to Jax. Jax, in the night, you were trying to get as close to his room as possible, weren't you? Really?
Yeah. Oh, unless the guards gang up and physically throw me out, I'm planning on standing at his door.
Okay. Let's do that. Let's do that bit then. Let's go back there. In the night, Jax, you are standing, pacing corridors that are well lined. Again, there's a sense of finery that has gone to slight, like the servants have become lazy. Like they're not quite towing the line. They're getting away with things that maybe a king would frown upon, or there's a sense of carelessness, not in a carefree manner, but literally of no care about about the framings and things like that. There's dust and cobwebs about the place. You stare out upon the gardens, and still there's that patch of ground where there is that looks green and verdant out in the garden, and also it seems to be that doesn't obey the sun. How it works here, it remains lighter than the rest of the place.
Okay.
You would just see that because you're peering out. You could tell the differential between that fountained area and the rest of the sort of semi-dark that happens on all of Earl, on this side of Earl, where you don't ever get a true sunset due to the near geosynchronous orbit of the moon, the sun of this orb, this planet. There is no one. Can you make a perception check for me?
Perception check.
A perception.
Just a quick heads up. I was told they're going to be 10 minutes.
Okay. Cool.
Am I at disadvantage yet? Or have I got my exhaustion or not yet?
No, this is coming into the evening, so no dis.
Okay. Whoa! I got double digits. 14.
Ooh.
Every time you pass there's 2 knights on the king's door. Every time you pass, they are stoic and they're staring forwards. But you hear from behind the door, as that has kind of become your charge in a way, that you have volunteered to be your charge rather than him charging you with his protection. Pacing.
What, from the other side?
Yes, like the other side of the door.
How long's he been wandering around for?
He left the
Oh,
meal.
Martin, like 2 guards.
Oh, okay. He came back from the feast and it was quiet for a while, and ever since, back and forth. He's loath to be disturbed.
You might want to check, because there's this weird ghosty thing that's floating around that, like, what put him into the whatever it was beforehand. So it might have come back.
Do you think he could be in there with him now? That could be it now?
I don't know.
Shall we raise the alarm?
Well, you could just open the door crack and have a look.
One of them raps upon the door. My liege! My liege! There's a come! And you get a glimpse inside as the guard opens the door, and is the king stood wrapped in some sort of bedclothes, looking pensive, I would say.
I know you've been asleep for like 10 years, but you probably want to like actually have a night's rest now.
He says, I know that it would be advantageous, that rest cures many ailments, but Jackson, wasn't it?
Yeah.
My mind races. The things that I have dreamt. I wonder how much of it was... It feels like I've relived an entire life. Like many people speak of life flashing before your eyes, before you pass. You heard this term in your orcish ways?
Yeah.
It was like that, but I lived every moment of it again.
Well, Serial's the one you want to have a chat with because she was like sort of riding piggybacking your brain or something. She got some orb and was sort of seeing your memories and stuff. I don't know. It's magical things. That's how we kind of know it came over to like get you fixed.
Yes. And in a dream, I dreamt of writing to her.
Well, she had a letter.
But it was just a dream.
Well, she's got a letter. I think she's got it back because we gave it to Lord Levy when he was putting us up.
Ah, Lord Levin. What has become of this place, this once great city?
Mainly gone to shit.
Your tongue
Definitely hope
is
she's Jack.
your tongue is coarse, but I agree.
From what I can tell, you're like guilty people are being asses and like stuff that you normally make sure that gets happened hasn't been happening. So there's like rats everywhere and like hungry people and like everything's just like falling apart.
You speak plainly.
He hasn't even mentioned the sun yet.
I find that somewhat refreshing, Jackson. It is.
You know what? I've got an idea. Do you want to sleep?
Come inside. This is not words for a corridor.
I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna pull out my green hat.
Okay.
I thought you were going to lump in one. Want to sleep?
I did too.
Better than everyone else, but no. I'm going to pull out my hat of spring or spring hat or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
It's my green beanie hat.
Yeah, your green beanie that you got from the Mad Hatter.
Yeah. And I'm going to be like, look, I can like tell you what's going on, but I don't really understand some of it. And Sarah will get really annoyed if she doesn't get a chance to like tell the story and be all like sort of, oh, I'm wonderful. So like, you know, I recommend you go to sleep. I can see if Mama Oost would do you like an eggnog because that's quite good. You know, it's good for getting you ready for bed. But just before you get in bed, put this on, and I'm going to pass him over my green hat.
He looks it over and says, I was wrong not to trust you before, Jax.
That is from the Feywild, and it puts you to sleep. Like literally, just put it on your head, boom, spark pearl.
He looks at it and says, from a different plane.
Yeah.
My boy was obsessed with those things.
He still is, maybe, or was.
And he says, I need rest. That's
what I just said.
That's too cryptic of something to pick apart this evening. I'd be glad of your additional watch. If you wish to remain, I would be honoured. He climbs in, his royalness into his bedclothes, silken sheets, and then pulls on a green bobble hat and is instantly asleep.
Does it have a floofy pom-pom?
I think it was just like a really, really plain beanie. I think I described it as.
It was a beanie hat, I think.
Yeah, pulls on a beanie. The king looks. Oh wait.
Now it's not a beanie, it's a nightcap.
Yes.
Kunk.
And is asleep. Dawn comes screaming over the horizon like a
I think the king is dead. He's got his beanie hat on. He hasn't woken up yet.
like a flaming banshee. And now you are courtly summoned. The as you climb the tower, there are walls being knocked through. There are the floors are being scrubbed.
Entertainment are out this season.
the remains of a giant mechanical eye robot are being dismantled
window.
and pulled apart. The floor where you first came across the automata, you realise this is not the corridors that were built in for the automata, like a track almost. That this is actually the same sort of size and shape as the room above, the floor above, and they're refitting various parts into their. Although what you do see is that there are treasure chests being pulled out of the space, and other
Managed to
things.
avoid all the treasure, guys.
You did indeed.
Next time.
Treasure chest bit, but you did get a rather nice rug, like doormat. So, like,
And she's had, and our lady noble has had some nice salted fish recently.
yes,
Good breakfast.
the workshop is being like kind of taken apart, and you see like a procession of stuff being moved over to, it's like the shed at the bottom of the garden type sort of situation, but it's a brick built type thing, and you can see Ilin there, just kind of guiding bits and pieces in, nodding enthusiastically, as pieces of machinery are being guided in. You make your way up the tower, and you realise that the floors, as they get polished in the room with the eye, and the walls are taken back to their splendour. You realise this must have been some sort of ballroom.
Yes, he actually described it. Yes.
Yeah.
When we get to that floor, is like the weird sticky door still like closed?
No, the weird sticky door has been taken off its hinges and been replaced with a brand new door.
I'm just gonna sort of poke my nose in there as we go up the stairs just to see if there's anyone in there.
There is a smashed window.
Yeah.
Make an investigation check.
Investigation, you say?
Yes, please.
Are we being shadowed by the guards as we walk into the tower?
There are guards on the door. There is someone guiding you.
No. I got 5.
Jax, you see the smashed window because that's kind of obvious. The wind at this height blows in at quite a pace. It's damp. The things you noticed before, really. Nothing more. Wardrobe, bed, bedside cabinet.
New door.
When the is the workman putting the door on?
He's trying to. Yeah, he's got the door off. He's like tapering the wood.
When you opened the door, was there anyone in there?
Not a soul, as far as I saw.
Okay.
Why?
Because when we came up the first time, there was.
Oh. How'd he get in?
I don't know.
Door was stuck.
Yeah. I gave him a crowbar.
Oh. Is this one?
Does that look like my crowbar?
Make a perception check.
It's a crowbar. Unless you engraved your name on it, it's a crowbar. The answer is always going to be yes. They all look like yours.
No. I rolled a
Best
3.
crowbar ever. I thought
You
we
don't
said-
recognise it to be your crowbar, but it is a crowbar.
Yeah.
Take it.
Yeah.
Take it.
Here you are, I got plenty. This was on the inside.
And
I probably had the crowbar.
You're
You
happy
know,
to have
with
your
crowbar.
crowbar back.
Even though you're not sorry, it's your crowbar.
What was Kills and Serial doing? Like, I mean, you're being guided through. Yeah, and in answer to the question, there are some guards that are kind of guiding you through now to the royal thing, and they're all kind of a bit like looking at the inside of the tower, like, what the heck has happened? You can see it on their faces that like they're all in a bit of like,
Yeah,
what happened
Unfoundedly.
here? Yeah, like What's going on?
You know, there's a sneaky bit in my brain that says the king's going to have us hung. But yeah, you know.
He'll be fine. He likes us.
I
Well, he likes me. We had a chat last night.
Oh, that's nice for you. But I am a lonely goblin cobbler from a poor part of the city.
But you're with us now, so like, you know.
It's all right, mate. You,
Like,
Jax has made a friend, and me and Killian are royalty, so you can just tag along with us.
Oh,
It's
lovely.
fine.
Thank you. Yeah, that makes me feel so much more comfortable.
This is-
You two are he's a friend, and you two are immune. Brilliant. Fantastic.
But you're with us. It's like sort of, you know, best of all worlds.
And if they
This
want to
is
get
the
to
royalty that you've seen turn into a penguin and go sliding along the royal, like.
Guys, they've just arrived. I'm
Okay.
going to have to
All
go
right.
for a bit, okay?
We'll do a bit without cereal for a minute.
All right.
The ballroom is starting to look more palatial. Torches are being lit, walls are being scrubbed, tapestries are being
I'm not having you up here
revealed
as well.
and cleared.
Sorry.
Kills, you said you were having a look around. What are you having a look around at?
Just in general. See if there's anything worth anything that I can take.
You're trying to steal on the way back through.
Not steal, just
Acquire.
take something on permanent loan.
What are you looking for?
See if there's anything like any more of the pink crystal. Or
The only thing that you found with the pink crystal was that machine.
yeah.
Anything else that you remember that had that was destroyed, disintegrated, if you remember?
Okay.
And you
honestly-
threw up in that Orby thing, so, you know, poor bastard that's having to move there.
Sloshes. What's in? Oh my.
Sloshing with
Popeye.
dragonborn puke.
Fred. Seeing if there's a new dog, get a replacement, send you back to where we got you. Get on your bed, you weird moon. Sorry.
Let's be honest. No, you're not.
Oh, he's so annoying. So there's, gonna see if, just, I want to have a look and just kind of,
You've been through this space before.
but I'm looking at the people.
Yeah.
This is the thing, and it's like, I know you said that there's like, the guards are kind of looking like,
Yeah.
but it's like, I want to, like, do a Killian check on them, if you know what I mean.
Okay, so you want to make like an insight and try and figure them out?
Yeah, because
Okay.
obviously, like, this is the first time in, what, 10 years
Yeah.
that a lot of these people have been able to get into the tower.
We don't know the timing on it exactly, but
No, but
yeah,
I'm
it's been a
guessing
while. Yeah,
so.
yeah, you think so?
Because we had to find another way in.
Yes.
We didn't break in.
No. It was just an alternative way of undoing locks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's
Keyless entry.
So yeah, roll an insight
I
check.
just
then.
want to kind of. I want to check that people in this place, space, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
can be trusted with the king, the information they've got,
Okay.
things like that.
Yeah, let's
So-
have like an insight check on the guards, and then we'll have one on the kind of workers.
Okay, can I?
Yes,
Can
of
I-
course you can. Let's pull that a bit
Thank
closer. There you go. Is that any better?
I'm trapped by a fat man.
You are. Right, there's a dice. I had to pick it up.
No.
Dog.
I like the way it looked like you were looking at Pete then. And then it
No,
bombed
it's
No.
It's a sleepy
my,
hound.
my feet are like right under where his shoulders are, so I'm like, I can't move.
Well, I bet your feet are nice and toasty.
They are almost too warm.
Toasty feet.
11.
So that's for the guards, and let's have one for the workers.
For the what? Sorry, what was that?
Workers.
Workers.
Sorry, it was the West Country. It spilled out on me then.
A 5.
Okay. So you think
Because you touched it.
you think that the guards look, like I said, sort of just they're like stunned at the shape changes within this space, like what's happened in here. That's what you're getting. Like that it's that it didn't have this layout. A lot of the floors, there seem to be, kind of taken aback, and they're kind of as they walk you through this kind of now internal building site. You see that there are bunks being reinstalled on the ground floor, maybe like a small barracks or something would have been on the ground floor at some point. You think this might be what they're trying to reinstate?
So would that be the death cat room?
That would be a stores room probably. You do not see any Grimishka in the
Death
place.
cats.
They seem to have been chased out.
Killian's like, they are death cats.
They're just
and,
cats.
Um,
Like all cats, they're death cats.
yeah, they're
Death
cats.
cats.
And of the workers, they're busy.
Okay, Killian still don't trust them. Don't trust
Well, you
no
don't.
one.
You don't know. You just think they're busy. They're too
No,
busy.
Killian don't trust no. Apart from Mama. Apart from
From the cook. When you get to that floor, you would actually see her just like furious.
why? Why is she so
Because
angry?
the kitchen with the grease and the death and
The
the
kitchen is a
disgust.
state. The kitchen is
Okay,
disgusting.
I go up to her and I say to her, I will personally see to it that this all gets cleaned and you get the nicest kitchen you could ever imagine.
She promptly shoves into your hand a mop.
Not me. I will personally see to it.
Get seeing to it, she says.
I turn around and I'm like, shit. Do I see any guards or anything around?
There are guards leading you through, but they have a purpose.
Are there any workers around?
There are already workers. Everybody has scrubbing buckets and things. They're
Okay,
trying...
I go up to one that has like a scrubbing bucket or
Yeah.
something, and I hand them the mop and 2 gold,
Yeah.
and I said, you can get the rest of the payment when I come back down. I want the
What's the
kitchen spotless.
They're in the kitchen scrubbing. Mama Oost is like the Sorcerer's Apprentice moment where there's everything being cleaned.
I'm like, I want it spotless. I want all new units, new pots, new pans. New
What's the
utensils.
rest of the payment?
2 more.
Yeah, they're like
Motivation.
They are like doubled in efforts. I mean, they're being given bed and board and whatever, but the gold is a great incentive.
You're messing with them, right? It's the Dragonborn. You're messing with his cook. She will have her kitchen.
You hear a donk donk donk.
Where's Apricot? Where's Apricot?
What was that? I did not understand a word of that. Excited.
Where's that coming from? But I went, where that from come?
Where that from come is from the large double doors on the side of the tower.
Oh god.
So what ones were they?
In the kitchen, there was a window above a sink, and then there were 2 large double doors
Oh yeah.
that Serial fell out.
Everyone nearly fell out of them.
I march over and I just throw them open.
You throw them open. You see that there is a winch that is being angled in. There's a big bundle of stuff.
And what is this stuff?
These look like kitchen supplies.
They've done that quick.
No one bothered to look out the window to see that there was a winch mechanism.
And the other person who was outside was heading on more interesting things, like not trying to fall to her
Trying
death.
not to die as they fell.
I'm more concerned about.
The kitchen, Raymond. Yeah, I understand the kind of your urge to make the dining
So, like, how
arrangements.
big is this bundle of things?
it's in like a like in a
like
when
a cargo net.
like a cargo net type sort of situation. Yeah.
Would I be able to like grab it?
There's ropes and
Pull
stuff.
it in, sort of thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, will I be able
of course,
to?
yeah,
like...
you can make a strength check, see how well it goes.
Okay. Oh shit. The way my
Come
rolls
on,
are going
have fun.
today. No.
Or if you've got a better bonus on your athletics, I can't remember what your athletics bonus is. Plus none. Oh, plus 6.
You looking at acrobatics? My
I was.
acrobatics is shit.
You ain't no dexterous person.
Toby, what? He's very much like mum. What?
Stop being a baba. Yeah.
So you pick up the dice again. Is that food? No?
16.
Oh.
16. Yeah, you pull it in with no trouble at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I open it up.
Yeah.
And I ask
Mama.
Mama. I always want to call her Nana, but then I'm thinking of Nana Foon.
No,
and I'm
Mama Oost.
Mama East and Nana Foon. Right. I ask Mama if this is to her standards or if she would like things like even better things, even more things, even greater things.
She says, "Try this." That's not her voice, is it? She's
No.
Scottish. I'm not going to try and do Scottish because
No,
I couldn't get it
not
the other
today.
day.
Not today.
She says, "Try this," and she grabs a knife that has been scraped clean. She stabs it into this great wax circle, wax disc, pulls and takes you out this hunk of cheese.
Why does she want me to try it? Why does she want me to try it?
She's just saying, "Try this."
I just,
Don't worry, nobody's watching you. It's trying to peel like a banana.
and it's like that much left at the end.
It
of it.
is sharp. It is nutty. It is lush. It's lush cheese. It's amazing cheese.
Unless we suddenly find out Dragonborn totally allergic to cheese, then ooh.
She is actually
Totally
lactose
tolerant.
intolerant in real
Massively
life.
lactose, isn't it?
In real life.
Gets a gas attack for the next
Yeah.
sort of 2
Make
days.
a constitution saving throw.
I feel like I have to do that every day. I'm like,
Massive gas attack. You at the king's table. You
My
suddenly.
lord! Stand up to make a speech.
Yeah, that's it. I was
Stop
just
it,
thinking,
sir.
like, you approach the king, you kneel.
lactose intolerance is nothing to joke
Creaky
about.
door moment.
It echoes around the cavernous interior. Every pillar refracts this sound 1,000 times.
Sarah's
Well,
behind me going, Jesus, killing.
More importantly, because the king's there, wondering why all his guards behind her going,
Yeah. They're trying to keep their stoic complexion as
And
dragon.
trying not
Oh,
to
because it's
die.
going to be really. It would be like stinking, but cold
Yeah.
because it's come out of an ice dragonborn. It would be really smelly.
oh,
but
there's a concept.
really cold.
Dragon
but-
breath us? Is it, you got like 1/5 green dragon in there or something? Why? Because
Acid.
caustic stuff coming in.
That so yeah.
Yeah, it's lush. It's lush.
Enough about a lactose intolerant.
Make an investigation check because you're holding
Ooh.
cheese.
Because I'm holding cheese.
Because that's what you do.
Oh no, 10.
It's cheese. It has wax on it.
Yes.
That's all you get with a 10.
Okay.
You missed the where it came from, the sort of stamp in it, I'm guessing.
She says, keep the rest.
At this point, like the little nubbing bit that was left is like gone. I've just got the wax in my hand.
This is you, that'll go in a second.
She takes the wax off you. You don't eat that bit.
So I gently peeled it off. I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah. She says, go on. get on with your friends.
But do you need anything else?
This will be plenty for now. I've got another load coming up.
Do you need a new oven? I can get you a bigger oven. A much bigger oven. Do you need a new oven?
Where do you know that has ovens?
I can send for one.
A newer oven than this one?
How new is the oven?
At least 8-10 years old.
I'm asking you, how old is the oven?
You probably estimate this to be about 20 years old. This is an old Arga. Been in there a long time, since the tower was built probably.
Yes, new oven. New oven.
Okay, you're going to get someone to install that for me as well?
Yes.
Okay, Dragonborn. What do I owe you for this?
Food. Nice food. Like the cheese. More cheese. Like cheese. And pastries. Lots of pastries.
Okay, I'll do what I can with this old oven, and then I'll do what I can with the new oven.
Okay.
I think Killian's just got their first quest. Get an oven.
Oh no.
It's a level 1 quest at that. Let's be honest, it's a level 1 quest.
I'm not even going to do it. I'm going to be like... You! Come here.
You're going to have to find yourself a runner. Yeah, you are beckoned suitably to the... she says, yeah, deal with that.
As soon as
once
you
you've
see
seen the
psychic
king.
whispers and going, "Psst, hey."
Yeah. The king might really wants to kind of, see you at this point. There's guards kind of...
Actually, I will. I'll actually use psychic whispers and get Killian and go, sorry for the interruption, but we're getting close to the king's door. You may want to catch us up.
But food!
She cuts you another slice of cheese. Because you try and say that in your mind, but you actually say it out loud.
But, ooh.
She cuts you another slice of the cheese.
And I just go, thank you. And I give her a little kiss on the head and walk away up the stairs with just peeling the back.
Sorry, I envisioned her cutting a slice of cheese and Killian picking up the other bit.
Yeah, just walking off.
No. But by the time I've even got to the throne room, like, it's just a ball of wax.
As we're going up the tower, do I see my guard at all?
Your
I
guard.
met in the pub.
Own a guard now?
Oh,
No,
the one you
guard.
fancied fighting?
The one that we were going to do some training because, we need to practice.
No, you do not see
Okay.
that guard. You see people of a finer raiment than this fella had.
Okay, that's cool.
King's personal guard.
He was a bit of a dick, really, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's why Jax wants to punch him.
No, I was going to do some training because,
Training.
Okay.
Mm.
Would
Watch
you?
this.
So you enter the throne room, and the king. You get to like the steps before the throne.
Oh, I'm on one knee immediately.
Yeah. And he rises.
I contemplate laying on the floor. Get even lower.
I'd
And-
bend forward and just pick him up. I'm like, stand.
And he stands with a cane in hand. That's sort of. You think that the adrenaline might have worn off here, and that some of the atrophied of the muscles is finally kind of kicking in, and he still remains tall, and he still remains
In charge.
in charge of the situation, but he inclines his head to each of you in turn. Owen, Jackson, Killian, Charlie, and Cyril.
Head down.
He says, I don't know quite why you took it upon yourselves to join together and travel from wherever you've travelled from to come and release me from the curse that I had been under. But I humbly thank you for your services to myself and the kingdom. In return for this, I would hear your stories. I would hear your tales, and I would hear what a king can do for each of you. And he turns first to Killian and says, I know of you and your dress. And he turns to Sarah, I know of you most well.
Wait, how does he know of me and my dress?
Would you like to know?
I ain't dressed like no royal.
He recognises your bearing. He has done before.
Mm.
He recognises you. He knows of Dragonborn. I will tell you how. But he's going to go... Well, we can do your bit first if you like.
No, you do somebody else's first. I just want it. I'm like, wait a minute.
Oh, no, because Killian would probably say that.
You're like, wait a minute.
He says... He sees the look upon your face. Kings are good at reading people and say, yes, I know. I know one of the Paxoni.
I'm just stood there eating cheese like.
Yes, I know of you, and I've met with one of your clan before. One named Karunorn. That's your dad.
Is that?
That is your dad.
You have his scales.
That ain't the name we came up with.
I thought we called him Karu.
Why don't we call him that?
I don't know. I can't remember what you wrote. I haven't got your backstory. You didn't email me. I don't know. I don't understand things unless they email to me.
No, because we were sat on the bus going to pick the child up from school.
The best times.
Yeah. He says, I met with him
When?
many years ago.
Why?
To speak of treaties and politics, things that a king must do to maintain peace or relative forms of peace, trade.
And how'd that work out for you?
We remain peaceful with Gregden and Sorthal and Gnus. Fro hast wars with nobody.
Mm-hmm. So you haven't met my stepdad then, no?
I don't believe so. Sorthal still wars with Gnus. The old battle lines have been drawn for many years, and Gregden, God bless that continent, has often been the staging ground for such fights, such battles, such ruin, and always in between the innocent. take the brunt of it. Kings and their armies, or maybe not even kings, more people pulling strings in their armies, moving over land and old debts unsettled, old vices not quenched. Dragonborn, what is it you desire?
The oven for your cook.
An oven for
Quest complete.
an oven for the cook.
For your cook, yeah.
Why, of course. That
A
is
new
of,
one, brand new one.
That is of not no great request, Dragonborn.
Well, everybody needs good food.
I agree. But
He said whilst licking cheese from his fingers, where he's gone like that, and it's gone all. You know when you squish a bit of brie in between your fingers, and it goes real squishy and mucky and like. Yeah.
this is
It's like,
Grogads.
Hmm?
Grogads.
Hmm?
Grogads.
That's the cheese.
what?
Grogads.
Right, that's 3 different things you've said now. My brain ain't working.
Grogads.
Grograds or grogads? Because you've said.
Grogads.
You didn't even know.
Grogads. Grogads.
Grogads.
Yeah.
Not grograds or grogods.
Grogads.
What is it?
Just that one. Can we say it over and over? Don't rip your DM. Come on.
I will.
There'll
Grogads.
be a lightning bolt coming from the sky in a minute.
Grogads.
Incoming lactose intolerance.
Yeah. Just that. Yeah, fine.
Grogads. What?
The cheese, Dragonborn.
Yeah, it's good cheese.
It looks like Grogads.
That's grogads.
Finest cheese.
It's good cheese.
That's what you're eating. Just thought you might want to know. He,
Local?
Yes, in the city.
Well.
Oh, I can get someone to show you there.
What milk do they use here? We haven't seen like any cows or anything.
That's
Yeah,
why I had to ask if it was local.
We're kind of a woolly cow that kind of a woolly cow that's actually native to the lands.
Squeezer. He turns to you. He says, "I know not of either of you two," and he gestures towards. Although I have spoken to Jackson here. Jackson, what may a king do for you?
I don't know. I don't really get this whole kingy stuff. But your town's falling apart. You've got rats and hungry people, so you should probably fix that.
That is my sincere intention.
It's why I said everybody needs good food. Oh,
Yes, everybody.
And why I insisted your cook get a new oven. A big oven. And help. She needs help.
Did they not have help with her cleaning the kitchen?
Cleaning it, yes, not cooking, no.
Do you really trust anybody but her to cook?
Her daughter. She's a
Her daughter serves my son.
Yeah, but he actually doesn't eat anything, you know. You could feed him bird food and he'd probably be just as good.
I was gonna
He
say,
has never had much of an appetite.
I was gonna say you could like
He's a bit weird.
I believe
I'm stood next like slightly behind Jack's going just a little bit.
I'm thinking Anakin's gonna have the hung at dawn, okay? That's his son
says-
you're talking about.
He says, he says, such as the boy, always full of such laughter and smiles when he was young, and then as he aged, more of his mother came out in him.
And I'm just like, wait, he used to laugh?
Oh, such
Well-
a happy child, yes.
He basically doesn't seem to understand like being in charge, and apparently you don't have a system for like challenging people that are crap at being in charge. And he's like all about magical stuff and planes and things, and thinks he can like sort of plunder them for resources by sending the soldiers in to take them. He just, yeah, he hasn't like led his people in any way, shape, or form since you've been down. I'm wondering if he did whatever it is to you so he could take over.
Yeah,
Did you like cut him off at all at any point, or like sort of stop his allowance?
No, he was always one trying to impress me. Wanted to show me of his learning, the things he had achieved, uncovered, and secrets he had unveiled. The last thing I remember is one morning in this very place, him coming to me, some new tome, excited, wanting to show, always wanted to please that boy. Believed there was great power to be had and ways for us to use magics and the planes to become more than what we have here. And I don't know, he just always seemed like he wanted to impress me. That is the last thing I remember of him. A book and him in this room. Where is my son? Why has he not been summoned?
Well, he kind of went walkabouts from like Southgate. He kind of wandered off and left them.
You mean to hunt? The forests nearby are...
Now, apparently, like sort of, Fulf says he does it occasionally. He's normally wanders off for a couple of days. We think he might have found a portal to another plane and gone wandering in there.
The king raises eyebrows.
And I look for an exit.
You believe the Prince Regent, am I to understand, on his own has entered a portal to another realm?
Yeah, that's what we think.
And apparently he does it quite a lot, so...
Well, he goes wandering. I don't know if he always goes into the portals.
Well, it could be another portal, we just don't know. But apparently he does it a lot on his own. Well, goes wandering off.
So his magic has increased. His skills have increased over these 10 years.
Sarah's the one to talk about she stole his orb. Well, borrowed his orb. We kind of took it as payment for saving Southgate.
Yeah, ask her. Just
Is
talk to her.
what? You are mute.
You're muted.
Lou.
Or something else has stolen your microphone, one or two.
The cat! The death cat! Death Cat stole it.
Oh
Oh.
dear, sorry.
Yawning.
Sorry. Alora today is just mentally
Welcome back, Fragments! The king turns to you, Erwin, and says, I know not of you, goblin. Friend goblin.
My name
Please.
is Erwin. I'm a cobbler. I'm a cobbler at in Ash Street. I'm an apprentice to James Cobbleson.
It's got very coy all of a sudden.
We would in front of a king. He says, You may meet my gaze.
I'm sorry, my lord.
Ash Street.
Yes, my lord. It's a poor part of the city here in Baldersaw.
I know of it. It's just you have lived here long?
I was raised in the city, my lord. My mother and father passed, and I was raised in the orphanage on Ash Street.
So you've seen all this, and he wipes a finger along an edge of an ornate frame, and dust on his hands. You've seen all this come about.
Yes, my lord.
You have the eyes and perspective of the people. Is
Of
it
the
as bad as they say?
Lower classes. No, my lord.
Really?
Gillian just
Are you trying to
he's like,
deceive him? What are we trying here, John?
Is it a fair city, then you? Is it a fair city?
It's a good city. It's fair, but the rise has been like more.
No, that's what he said. He asked, is it a fair city?
No, he said. Oh no, so he said, "Is it as bad as they say?" Sorry.
Ah, my lord, I do not know what they say.
That was very diplomatic of you, John.
He says, I've spoken with advisors, and I see the state of this place, and if this has got to here, outside the walls, tell me.
It has become a city looking out for oneself, where the wealth of the nation lies within the hands of the guilds, and they understand the tides of life. Without direction, they have turned inwards, my lord, where they look after their own. That does not leave much for the common man. Crime is rife within the city, sir, my lord, with gangs carving up the city as protection.
How could it come to this? How could Levin...
My lord, it's not any one person's fault. A lack of leadership is a problem, but it's also the lack of the will of others to take up the mantle, my lord. It's not just your son, it's not just your absence, but there's a clear problem with people becoming tribal. It happens, my lord. Don't blame yourself.
I don't blame myself. I blame the curse. Never befell me, took me from my seat, took me from being able to watch over my son, Took me from watching over these people where greed rules, greed drives, and greed eventually pulls apart and ruins what was once great. He walks over and he touches the smaller throne.
Mm-hmm.
Not the smallest, but the sort of the middle throne.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, Sarah, I dreamt I sent you a letter. And Jackson tells me, as he kept vigil over me in the night, that you have a letter from me.
I take the letter from my backpack. Yes, my lord, you did. Here is the letter, and I hand it to him.
He opens up the pages that you've managed to keep safe, that are now crisp, and you know all the experiences that you've been through, the water, from being out at sea, the battles that you've fought, and he says, "This is my hand." And he says, how was this delivered to you? How did you come by it?
I've had this letter on my person for a very long time. Since I was captured on the slave ship, which seems it seems a lifetime ago now. When I was still at court, before I ended up that fateful day on the slave ship.
Yeah.
One of my messengers.
Would you like to make a history check to know where you found it from?
Yes, please.
And give you some history from it.
I was just going to make some shit up, but yeah,
No,
you can
let's
remember.
get, like, I have a history for it. So.
Oh. $17.
You woke a morning in a very lovely, beautiful inn, and it was by your bedside, sealed with the king's seal. You were in an inn at the town of Nesseld.
Where's Nefeld?
It lies between the mountains of Mott and Cott.
Mott and Cott. And
Yeah.
which region is that in?
Yeah, the great mountains of Mott and Cott, which are on the continent above where you are along Gregdon, to the east of the Great Desert. And the inn is called Sveldins. You also remember, with a 17, you remember how rudely you were woken by a gnome jumping on you.
That happens.
A child gnome.
Jumping on me. And the letter was on my bedside.
Yeah. But when questioned, none of them knew about a letter or a deliverer of said letter.
Was there multiple gnomes, children then?
You were woken by one particular one, but you know that town is very well populated with gnomes.
What was the inn called again? Sorry.
Sveldins. Sveldins. Sveldins.
Guardians.
Sveldins.
And the mountains were Mott and Cot.
Mott and Cot.
Sveddens.
Sveldins.
Okay.
Sveldins. And you relay that to the king, I guess.
So, sir, I was on my travels. I was traveling to a region called I don't know what the region was called, but it was the east of the Great Desert, and I was woken by some small gnomes jumping on my bed. And when I awoke, suddenly there was a letter with your seal on my bedside table, and none of the gnome children seemed to know anything about it, or anybody else in the inn I was staying in, called Skedden. That's all I know. The letter appeared overnight. It wasn't there when I went to sleep the night before.
He says to you, Serial, I'm not sure that you've realized, but it was nearly 40 years ago that you did work for this great land.
Yes, sir. It seems 2 or 3 lifetimes ago, since much has happened in that time.
It was a lifetime ago. It was not me that you did the work for, but my father.
Oh.
Now that
I was not aware.
Now that you look, that you see there are slight differences, a slightly more pallid look to this character than you remember your king having. You think that maybe you thought that it was just the results of being asleep for nigh on 10 years that had salad his features, but you notice more now that there is a slight difference to the cheek and the ear shape and the jawline, and you realise this is not the same man that you helped. And he said, I was just a boy then. My father named us the same. By way of his ego, I guess, so that he should live forever. And I did my best. I do thank you, though, for returning my mother's bones to her people.
Yes, I nod to him.
But it seems that my father not only passed his name, but also his luck. And he strokes this chair again, and he says, like him, I lost my queen. Birthing.
What happened to your queen?
The birthing of my son took her.
I'm so sorry.
The people of this town have always, this city and this land, have loved a widowed king for 2 generations. This place has been lorded over by 2 thrones, one cold and empty, and one with a cold heart that sits upon it, growing colder by the moment. The people need me, though. and I should not dwell on the dead. They are at rest for the most part, and we should be about the business of living. Cyril, my father passed an heirloom to me and said that if ever you should return, I should hand it to you, as you would know what to do with it when the time was right. On his deathbed, he didn't make all that much sense. The milk of the poppy had addled his mind. And he hands you a small black case.
A black face. Okay, do I open it in front of him or?
It's up to you. What do you want to do?
Okay. Sir, do you know if this is something I should examine in private, or is it something that my friends and you can examine with me?
He just gestures. Please.
I open it then.
You open it, and it is a small. It looks like a rose that's laying down, and the stem is ever so straight. But as soon as you open the box and light is upon it, it starts growing little vines out of it, and then little buds start opening up and blooming like in a time lapse, and then falling off and dropping away, and then another vine comes up and grows ahead and then pops away and falls again, over and over and over again.
Can I do an Arcana check, please?
You can try and figure out. You would know that this is definitely magical. There's no doubt about this.
By doing a magical spell, would I find out more about the magic?
Yes, you could do. Yeah, please roll.
Otherwise, I'll do a perception if that's not going to help.
No, Arcana would be the thing that you would do here.
14.
You believe your magical intuition tells you this is of great import, and it is woven of elven magics, some sort of divine magic, something definitely like from the druid school, like something that is wrought from that kind of field of magic.
Can I do a history to see whether I've come across anything like that before?
See if you, yes, please do. Yeah. See if you've you heard of anything like this.
Everlasting temporal flower of greyness. I've heard this in a book once.
Oh, I got a natural 20 plus 5, 25.
Oh, you know now what this is. Now you've looked over it. You believe that this is a legendary item. This makes forests.
Ooh.
Don't drop it.
Don't drop it.
Forest nuke.
Forest nuke. The sort of forests that it creates, are they fey forests or are they just normal forests?
They would create a forest on this plane. You know that.
Right.
But as you know, wherever magic is thick and there is always a chance that the veil can be thinner.
Mm-hmm.
Where there's high magic, the veil can be thinner. Yeah, that's probably what I'm trying to say.
Can I, would the garden, the magical garden that's in around the palace, would they be connected to the rose by any chance? Can I ask that question?
No, not from your history. This is something that is. This is ancient magic. This is old. This is when you've old wives' tales and sort of old scripture that you would have read back in Gargamel as you were growing up as a young elf. That's where you would have uncovered this rumor of a law. This thing doesn't. No one thought it really actually exists.
It does.
It's yours.
Okay, I thank the king for the item. I obviously hold it in great regard, so I close the box up gently. Have I got any more of that cloth that isn't wrapped in fish?
Yes. That's what I was saying. Stop it with the fish.
I don't want to stuff it in with the fish. Have I got any more material?
Forest grows inside the fish. You have to be now miniaturized to explore the forest inside a fish.
Let me win.
With a bit of material that isn't fish related.
Yeah, it's in the box seems quite secure. You do have
Okay, I'll just put it in my knapsack.
Cool. Yes.
My rucksack, I should say.
Yeah. And he says, "Tell me, Maiden of Gargamel, how are those verdant forests?"
I don't know, my lord. It's been a long time since I've been there. We've been traveling a long time now, and I haven't been in my native land for some time.
You see him kind of almost. You see him reminiscing in his head, and he says, "It has been a long while since I felt cool, dewed grass between my toes. Just this," and he taps his staff on the floor. It says, "stone and ice."
I think once the kingdom has recovered under your reign, then maybe it'd be beneficial for you to take some time away and reconnect with yourself so you can better help your people in the future.
If that is an official invitation to Gargamel, I would gladly take it.
Of course. Once I've returned to my seat, then I invite you back, and I will show you every hospitality, and we can walk the forest together.
You must. I will fetch something for you.
Can Jax have an insight?
Yeah.
Have you been flirting?
Yeah. Have an insight.
Yeah, totally. You know about.
Oh, come on! I didn't have much luck with his son, so let's try the fast one.
You're upgrading. I rolled a 3, so 4.
Totally.
Jax thinks whatever Jax thinks at this point.
Jax, I don't know.
Well, I think he's recruited for his empty seat, and and I think sort of, she's upgrading from the creepy prince to like sort of, dad.
Your dad.
Sleepy King.
Looks.
Prince the Sleepy King.
He turns back to Owen and says, "Owen,"
Who's?
and he says, would you take the guards, take them into the city, show them, tell them where it is worse, where we can root out this corruption, where we can rid this fair city, well, what was once fair city, of its denizens of..."
I think Owen may need some protection if he is to become the maker of this gang culture's undoing.
and you wish to offer that?
I think Killian may be more suitable in that role than I. Killian puts his hand up.
I think you also might want to look at the Weasley ones that were pestering Levin, like the heads of the guilds, because they're definitely dodgy as.
Just merely look after their own interests.
I know these fat cats of old, and I will summon a hearing, a court here. They should be gathered round tables, and they should be made to answer for their misdemeanours, their lack of care.
Might want to get you like King's Guard back from Southgate.
Yes, I shall send birds.
Like Carlath, he's out there.
Carlith. Carlith, I remember, a good man.
Well, him and some of the others are sort of signed up with your son because, like, he basically disbanded your guards, and the ones here. And I'm going to look around a bit. Need like sort of a bit of training and practice.
And he looks at these people, and each of them that's standing there, immediately as the king's eyes brush over, pulling guts. and put shoulders back and stand with as much regal bearing as they can.
And as soon as his gaze passes off, they're glaring.
Yeah, literally back into couch potato mode.
You see like the buttons burst.
Yeah, like.
Type
He says, "Owen, can you do this? Would you go into the town and be able to seek out where the evil lies, the corruption is? You are a man of a person of the town. You must know the ways through where it lies thickest." It is a
I can do my best, my lord.
It is hard to ask of a cobbler, I know.
It's a hard question to answer, my lord.
I'll be back in a minute, hang on.
Sorry,
If you are talking about people banding together to survive and sometimes having to do unsavory things, is that considered evil?
Maybe evil is the wrong word.
If you are talking about those who racketeer and suppress the poor to feather their own nests,
I mean to relieve suffering.
then, my lord, you have to remove the necessity for suffering.
And how would one do that? How would you do that, Erwin?
In the short term, remove the gang's abilities to recruit. So I would set up a fund that actually publicly supports orphanages across the city, thus removing a need for young boys and girls to find comfort and food in gangs. For a start, I would...
You could, like, if like little kids are like quite good at running around and doing stuff. So if you put like a bounty on the rats, like a silver or rat tail or something.
Rats carry disease, Mr. Jackson. That's an ability, but a dangerous one.
But then they can go around killing the rats, which improves the city, and then like they make money, and then they don't have to worry about doing it because like it's not that difficult to catch a rat.
It's not, but you'll find very quickly that if you put a bounty on an animal, especially an animal that can be easily bred, you'll find yourself with 10,000 more rats so long as the bounty continues, because that will become an income. It's about stopping the need for that sort of thing. It's not an easy question to answer, my lord, but I will do my best.
The rats are joined to squalor, to refuse, to waste, to places that are unclean. What if I take part of what Jackson says and offer the orphanages are full? Oh, we lost John.
No, I'm talking. I'm being still.
Yeah, are the orphanages there full?
Life is hard, and accidents happen, especially upon the iceberg.
If we provided equipment and facilities, could the children, could the people take responsibility for their own, for cleaning, for bringing this city back? Do you think with leadership I could guide them to this, to return it to a former glory?
People need purpose to change, and an incentive to do so, my lord. Simply put, if there's a incentive that improves their lives financially, socially, then it will happen. But that has to be in place and tends to trickle down from the top, not the other way. The rich need the poor to work. The poor need a good wage to be able to sustain themselves. The rich naturally don't want to pay much for their worth. It's the divide between the rich and the poor.
Yes.
You'll have to find an intermediary or find a form of incentive for the rich to pay the poor better.
But if we can root out these gangs, would that be a start?
Short term, yes. Of course, my lord.
If we could root out maybe leaders, people who organise.
Snake's heads, my lord. You kill one leader, all you're going to do is find another one that takes its place. But it's a temporary solution, my lord, and it'll certainly alleviate a lot of the problems for the poor.
What do these gangs actually do?
Mullo gang, where on Ash Street, are a bunch of thugs. They run extortion rackets. The guards don't patrol, and they don't police the grounds. So to stop other gangs and stop violence, they extort protection money.
So if we gathered up all the gang leaders and said, it's your fault if anyone gets extorted, you're the one that gets punished, do they not stop?
I like the idea. Oh, wrong. I like the idea. It won't stop
You
it.
know,
It won't stop it.
if you make them liable for it,
Then they'll just.
give them another.
Then the gangs will need a new leader. That's all you'll do is, and it'd be beneficial because the new leader could then do what he wanted, and the old leader would get punished. Brilliant. You just have a whipping boy.
Who's a whipping boy? Sorry, I missed that.
We're just trying to work out how you eliminate crime in a large city.
Yeah.
It's the purge. You just let everyone break the law for one night.
It's Jackson's idea. Just have a bad night where everything happens,
No,
and then
no,
nobody's allowed to do anything after that.
If they have like sort of, if you've got like little tribes wandering around, like set them in charge of something and pay them to do something so they don't have to extort. So, you know, have groundskeepers, have sort of, you know, watch, have whatever.
The poor need somewhere to go. For an orphanage like my own, the gangs were the only ones hiring. They're the ones that can give you a purpose, a wealth, any chance of upwards mobility. The poor need a direction to go.
We need to find them work. We need to find them a way to make their own living, make their own way in the world.
Well, surely if the city needs rebuilding, it needs cleaning.
Building, does it? It's not broken. It's just socially not working properly.
Well, there definitely needs to be some pest control employed. That's for certain. All those rats, remember?
I'm very much aware of them. Thank you.
Yeah.
But you get rats everywhere. It just seems happen to be on the surface.
There's probably a weird cult running around in the city too, because they've been running around everywhere as well.
The king is taken aback by this and says,
"So am I, because I don't know anyone."
Jackson, every time that your mouth opens, new revelations are unveiled to me. A cult."
Yeah, Jackson
Well, we've been wondering
understand the subtleties of polite conversation. He just says things as he thinks them.
I have witnessed this firsthand, and I find it most endearing. In fact, being direct is something I'm not quite used to. The coarseness of his, of the way of his manner, but being told the truth, it would seem.
I'm like here, you know.
I know.
I pat Jackson's shoulder.
I'm trying to pay you a compliment, Jackson.
Yeah, we've been like coming across like these weird cult people who are like worshipping the Moor and
I think we've glitched out.
Yeah.
Oh man, we lost net.
Yeah, it's dipping in and out.
Who?
they seem to be... Oh, there you go. You're back.
Sorry, we glitched completely there. Sorry.
Yeah,
what? I didn't hear anything.
Sorry, guys.
I heard it till there'd been more people, and that's it.
Yeah, so they're feeding stuff to some spirit that lives in a mirror. It's an eyeball and a mouth and things, and they like feed it treasures and stuff. And like we come across them like all over the like we found them in like well, you came across them before I even had joined you. But
Yes.
they're all over Gregden, and they seem to be fascinated with like the crystals you got at Shardful, the pinky ones. And that was what Killian dragged out this ghosty thing out of you with.
Yes.
So
this cult in the city.
Let's see
The cult.
if you've
The cult
noticed
are.
anything. Owen, let's have a history check, maybe. I think for this.
History works for me.
Yeah, like
okay.
kind of thinking back to see if you've heard anything of this, any strange rumours or.
I rolled a 12. Is that a failure? If not, I can add to the psychic dice to see if I can boost it.
It's low. Let's see if you can boost it.
Roll.
Let's juice it.
Okay, does 13 succeed?
It's slightly better. So
It is slightly better. You're not wrong there.
yeah. So
Couldn't get any worse, could it?
I would say that it is alongside this gang behaviour that you have witnessed. There have been people turning. There's less people going to the temples. There is a godlessness about the town. Before it was very much very focused on Melora, due to the wastes where you are, that kind of the Tempest always being whipping around. and even the celebrations here were, you know, not as great as they have been, and you know, you would have noticed, yeah, a lack of losing my religion by REM. That
My lord, I would have to state for my own purpose, for my own observations, that there has been a loss in faith in the gods in the city.
So I must meet with the clergy as well. It seems I have many.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Charlie can do that. He's a priest of Melora.
Yeah.
I would happily meet with the leaders of the churches here. Not
Charlie's woken up.
no trouble at all. If you give me leave to go, I shall be on my way this very morning. Seek out the temples of all the gods, if you wish. We will speak of religion and what we can do to draw the faith and turn people towards at least the light. If not Melora, then at least the light.
You might want to send some. Well, we can probably go with him because, like last time we did that, like the priest turned into a weird tentacle thing and was worshipping the more people as well.
Every time, Jax. Every time you open your mouth, more horrors you speak. You have
That
seen
was
some
down
things.
in East Estelon.
Estelund, Father
The priest
Scrotum.
there. Yeah. Priesty there was
Great.
he signed up a deal with like the fish people who were extorting the town, and then when we came in we may have upset them, broke the deal, and they attacked Southgate. But it's okay because we fixed Southgate. Well, we helped defend Southgate.
He just shakes his head and says,
Lots happened while you've been asleep.
someone
Great Lord.
needs to chronicle
it?
your journey. Someone needs to make a record of this. I then bequest of you for today, I would ask that Erwin, you go with the guards and not necessarily into the city, but give them any information you can on the gangs and where they may lie.
Is Killian going to join Owen
And Killian,
as a bodyguard?
you will accompany.
Just in case. It's not that I don't think Erwin can handle himself. It's just that.
You like to pick him up.
Yeah.
Yes, he does. He does. Yes, he does.
The thing is, if shit gets real, I can just pick him up and put him on my back like a little rucksack and run away.
Like a Yoda.
Yoda!
You'd be like the never-ending story dragon.
Oh,
running off.
I was thinking backpack Yoda.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
thinking Yoda. I was thinking like
That's
when
where
it is.
I was going.
No, I'm never-ending story. Sorry, that's where I've gone. But running rather than flying.
And
want-
you start trying
I
to
want-
keep killing your psychic stuff. Feel the psychic energy flow through.
I want one request for the king, and that's the guy's
Stop
boots
turning to
going to be
Yoda.
nailed to the floor.
I still think it's funny because you don't have to outrun them, you just have to outrun Killian, and Erwin can. Like it's actual
It's like, I'm way faster than you think. I'm a speedy boy.
So he says into the city, or to advise the guards. Serial. Jackson tells me of an orb that you
Yes.
have in your possession.
Oh, I've still got that, have I? I thought I left it in the castle.
That was
Oh no, I did take it, didn't I? I did
you
take it.
embroidered a robe, throw to like with the runes and stuff.
I what?
You copied the runes onto a throw type
Yeah.
thing. Around
Oh, that was it. Yeah.
So in theory, we haven't tested it, but it should actually work.
Oh dear.
Oh yeah,
Theory.
Uh-oh.
because it's the same. Because I copied the rune. So if I lay the blanket down and then put the orb in the center, then in theory, I should be able to use it to in the same way I used it before. I don't know, Great King, has Jackson explained to you of my visions?
I
He's
said,
told
I
me
said
somewhat.
I said you saw through his eyes and you were seeing his dreams and stuff and things, but I don't really understand it.
I don't. From what you've told me and the revelations that you've explained about you are the son of the king I once knew.
Indeed.
My visions now are a little confused. From what I remember, they could have been moments in your lifetime or of your father's lifetime. There was moments I saw with a young prince and a king who were happy, and then other moments where there was three. There was a wife. There was a wife and a king. I think there was moments of three, but I can't remember now. Can I do a history check?
Can.
Remember?
Yeah.
It's been a while. 21.
So
You're rolling like a god today, you are.
I am, aren't I?
yeah.
I should wander off more often.
You would remember that there was a scene with 3, and you thought that the young boy was definitely Tustin, the prince. So the eyes that you saw through. Could you make me a nature check?
All of us?
Just if
No, just Serial, please.
Because I've just before I do the next check, because if the current king's wife died in childbirth, then it would have been the king before and his wife and child. Not that would be the 3, because there would never have been a 3 with prince, wife, and
No.
king
No.
of this generation.
Unless he got a bit on the side for a while. Might have broken up badly. You might not want to talk about it.
Maybe, but it looks like a
There was a person there, definitely.
yeah. Anyway, I'll do a nature check, shall I?
I love the bit on the side.
King had a bit on the side.
If you're like to happen.
He has
so
no concept of hierarchy at all. He's like, yeah, well, you might have a
No,
bit of
kings had
I own-
bastards all the time. Yeah.
I am not rolling like a queen anymore. I got 10.
10.
Well, it happens sometime.
Oof. Well, you would still with a 10 realise. What would you realise? That the other person was not human. Was not human. Like, as you look back, remembering that time, you remember that person is not human. That was the third.
So would I need to know? I need to think now how to diplomatically ask the king if his wife was human.
Just have a look at his ears.
That's kind of funny.
What?
That's kind of funny. Look at his ears. Nobody, nobody.
Sir, my visions are confused somewhat. I need to make things clearer in my own mind before I can assist you further by telling you exactly what I saw. May I ask if you could tell me a little more about your wife and her
He says, It's funny, you know, that my father gave me his name and seems to have given me somewhat of his passions as well. To always fall for the strange ones, the darker ones. Both me and my father are our wives were of the drow.
Ah. Right, that's going in the notebook.
And the Al-Qaeda appear there should be a dum 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 sound going on.
No, you did dum 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 dum. I was doing the EastEnders. Dun, 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 dun. Father and son.
You would all
married.
know a bit about the drow, underground, subterranean elves of basically is the general gist of things. Anyone who wants to make any nature checks can do so to uncover more.
Well,
Yes, please.
Well,
Sorry?
Tholf was one as well, wasn't he?
Tholf. Ah, yes. You think Tholf might be of a...
I'm rolling a nature. I'm
I'm
rolling a
pretty sure you
nature.
told us that.
You did do it. I think you did. You did uncover that he was.
Told
drow.
us Tholf was
yeah,
a Tholf was
drow.
a drow.
Yeah, he is drow.
I've got an 18. Can you tell me more about the drow, please?
Oh, you can know more about the drow. The drow are a subspecies of elf that
You said that right.
Worship a typically worship a god of spiders
Ooh,
called
spider.
Lolth.
Lol.
And called Lols. No, called Lolth. And are typically seen as unsavoury characters.
Can they be neutral and good as well as being bad, or are they just generally bad?
They're just seen as well. They're not all bad. They're much like they're much like
Humans?
they have free will, but the god that they worship,
overall tendency is evil.
yeah, it's not so.
Like orcs, but you get
Sorry?
like orcs. Orcs and goblins are considered evil races, but you get
good and
gobblers.
get
Oh,
goblins
you
and
didn't say I
jackses.
wasn't evil. I'm actually playing a neutral evil character.
Every characters. So that might be where a bit weird Prince gets his a bit weirdness from.
Well, if you think about it now, you've got 2 generations of drow, 2 generations of human. What genetic mixes collided here? It's an extra bit of drow, so it's drow going into half drow, half human, and then a half drow, half human having a child with
It's
drow.
3/4 drow.
Yeah,
So a bit weird Prince is more drow than human. Is that what you're saying?
that's how genetics.
That's totally how genetics works.
Yeah, exactly like that.
Yeah.
That's how D&D genetics works. I've seen it in the Dungeon Master's Guide.
Genetics is basically like beakers
Bit
and
weird
pour things in.
Yeah.
Is 75% drow.
Wow.
That's in your official notes now.
Yeah.
I love it.
He's still just gonna have a bit weird.
Yeah, just
Oh,
bit
God,
weird.
he doesn't get a proper name. He's an arsehole. He's just known as a bit weird Prince.
Not drow.
The mostly drow bit weird prince.
Yeah.
It's a heck of a title he's got there.
He says, what would he say? You would realise, actually, Serial, now that you think back, that now you're thinking of drow, and you remember the woman from the dream,
Mm.
that person would be a drow.
So, can I ask what colour skin drows have?
Anywhere in terms anywhere from blues to blacks, normally with like almost like charcoal kind of colours, blues, blacks, charcoals, that kind of colour.
Okay.
Dark.
But the prince doesn't have any of these features. He looks human, but may have characteristics that are more nature that is more drow than.
Yeah, you think so?
Thin featured, high cheekbones.
High cheekbones,
Okay.
pointed ears, sallow face, hollow cheeks, that kind of stuff going on.
Shitty appetite.
So some people get
Probably
drow
not
features.
serving drow dinner. That's what it is. No, I don't know what it is.
Ah, that's why it's not got a drow appetite. That's why it's not got a human appetite, because it's not the sort of food he
just
likes.
a bit weird. Possibly he's just a bit
Or
weird.
he's just a bit weird. Jackson nods in improvement.
All there.
So you have
Validation, haha.
you have some facts about the heritage of Prince Tustin.
Does drow go into like other plagues, like shadow realms and stuff?
Can drow? Did you say?
I'm asking, like, in general. I don't know if the king or Asariel will know that. Jack certainly doesn't. So he's asking. Is that why, like, he probably wants to go to other realms and stuff?
I have no idea why my son wished to dabble in these magics, but like I said, it was his mother's son. When he was a boy, he was jovial, happy, and full of life, and then as he grew older, he began to dabble in these magics and seek darker things, and then would always try to impress me with.
When he was saying that he wanted to send the soldiers in to like raid the resources from there and bring them back, so like the country gets richer.
He was ambitious. Always wanted more.
I don't think it's with the greatest respect, sir, I don't think it's ambition. I think somewhere along the line the darkness is taken over.
Yeah.
Killian's going to say that.
It's
And I glare at Killian. I'm like, I'm
somewhere
trying to be
along the
somewhat
lines
nice
of-
here.
Sarah's like, somewhere along the lines of Killian's like stupidity.
Somewhere along the lines, sir. And I glare at Killian and sort of like, shut up. Somewhere along the line, sir, he has unfortunately turned to a darker side of life, I feel, and now the power and greed has taken over his interests, and the darkness has consumed his soul without you by his side to guiding him on the right path. He has I feel he has gone too far down into the darker side.
The king looks fearful at this and says, if this is true, then my son must be stopped. If the portal lies open, is easy to traverse in Southgate, and he means to bring that evil here, or things from the other side here, that can only mean bad things for the kingdom and maybe the light.
We're not even sure if he's able to come back to this realm. I have the impression that he thinks he has more power than he actually does. I fear where he has gone, he may not be able to return
Or survive.
or survive.
I know of
Magic ball.
magic ball.
What?
You can have a look in the magic ball, see if you can see him there.
That you're in the magic orb.
Or ball, same thing.
What, for me to look? For me to look? Says the king.
Well, Samuel knows how to do it the best. I tried it once. It was a bit weird.
Yeah, I think because I have sorry, Jackson. I think because I have magical powers, my lord. I think I am able to harness its power better than those like Jackson who follow a different path.
Okay. So are you gonna try and use this ball?
I think it's only sensible if we find an empty room, maybe away from any distractions, and just myself and you, my lord, try and see what we can see without an audience. I feel if there's too many other people in the room, then I may not be able to focus fully.
Well, if we go to like the eyeball room downstairs, like that's really big, and you can go as one side. If like evil, nasty, ghosty spirit thing turns up, you probably want us around to smoosh it.
That's very true.
He says, if we are dealing with things from realms, as was the creature that you fought earlier, there is one place that is very protected.
Where's that, my lord?
Well, the creature could not run from the room where I lay in the bed.
Ah, of course. Yes, there seemed to be some sort of force field in your bedroom. So maybe that would be a safe place to lay the orb.
Looking.
Sorry?
Would that not stop your magic looking?
What looking?
Your magic looking, like if you're looking at the orb or the thingy around the room, like stop the magic going out.
The force field around the room, yes.
Because like someone threw a spell at one and it bounced off the force field in the fight.
Oh, yes. So you think that the magic would work in the room, but not... Oh, I see what you're saying. So you think that maybe it would stop the actual spell, the visions from working correctly in that room because of the force fields that are up. Is that what you're saying, Jackson?
Maybe.
Jax is trying to play Jax, and you're asking the most complex question.
I don't know.
Oh, no.
Magic stuff didn't like going over like the barrier stuff, and like if you do magical stuff, you're not just going to be stuck in the room.
He says,
And it wasn't a big room, so looking at it magically probably isn't going to make it much more interesting.
he says, very well, we shall take Jackson's advice, and we shall use the room below. You proceed downstairs, and you set up a blanket on the floor like some bizarre picnic, and in the centre you place
A room picnic, yeah.
a magical orb. Make that Arcana check and let's see what you see.
As she said out, I'm just going to sort of sidle up to Killian and be like, are they flirting? I think they're flirting.
Killian's just there, just like, I don't know anymore.
Is Killian just sitting there, just slowly chewing on a cake.
And no, I was gonna,
Still cheese.
no, Killian's run out
Blue
of
cheese.
cheese, so
Oh, no.
he's lost complete interest.
He's
in
starving to death right now. It's amazing. You just see him wasting away.
Yeah. Killian's
What
like trying to reserve his energy. It's like
For more cheese.
from what
Oh.
he thinks, he's like,
Killian, I know what you should do. You should send a servant to go and get, just like if I need to fuel up if there's a battle, go and get some more cheese from, because the cook's nearby, isn't she? Been summoned, hasn't she?
She's in the
Literally-
downstairs. She's actually in the kitchen.
Yeah. So send a servant to go and get some more food from Mother Oost?
Mama Oost.
Mum.
Mama
Yeah.
Oost.
it's just,
Yeah. You make that Arcana check for me, Serial.
Okay, I'm arcanaing.
Down.
Crossing fingers.
Oh, come on, please. We get. Yeah.
12.
You stare into the orb and you see a sea of blood.
Oh, that's never good.
You think?
A great ocean of blood and a massive bridge made of bone. Hundreds and hundreds of bones. Thousands upon thousands of bones spreading across a blood sea. Great black towers rise on the far side of this as you peer across the bridge, and you seem to be standing in a crucible of sorts, and as you look down around you, you realise you are in the top of a gargantuan skull that seems to be a halfway point between the halfway point on this great bridge that you are crossing.
And what are the two towers? Can you give me more information about the towers?
There is towers overbuilding great vast walls, huge cliff face that drops down into a sea of what looks like roiling blood. The smell of iron is thick in the air.
I have a question, even though I can't see this stuff. From the description, does it sound reminiscent of like the Ice Bridge and Southgate
Oh,
in a twisted kind of way?
it would be the other side of the river you're looking from. The other
So
side
more.
of the sea. You're looking at Morden South. Yeah.
Morven South. This is Morven South.
It is
Creepy ass version of it.
it is a version of it.
It's like a Fey version of Morven South.
It's not Fae. It's a shadow
Dark
version.
Yeah.
And I think probably that's where we'll stop for the day with your vision, for you to regale your companions next time